Mumbai's day. The richest civic body of India has tabled its highest ever annual budget. This also happens to be an election year for them. But we are going to be focusing on one very crucial aspect today. BMC has said that it will bring out a green budget or a climate budget that is likely to focus on green tech, emissions, and the climate challenge. Details of this is awaited. But here's one big irony. Close look at the budget outlay shows the Garden Department's funds have starkly reduced. In fact, the funds have been halved from 254 crore rupees in 2020 to 354.39 crore rupees last year to now just 178.5 crore rupees. That's almost half, a 50% decline. Now, you may ask, what is the Garden Department? Well, it's responsible for Mumbai's green spaces, open spaces, green and brown. You know, there's not much difference between them except for the color and the trees, but brown is also very inherently part of all of this. Now, as their funds have been halved, let's look at what has changed in the last few years for Mumbai. Mumbai's increase, and that's quite literally 2 degrees rise in average temperature in 27 years. 66% increase in built-up areas in the last 27 years. And what has Mumbai lost? 40% green cover in 27 years. 81% open spaces. And 30% of its water bodies. All of this lost in 27 years. This is a joint study by Jamia Millia University and Osmania University as well as Aligarh Muslim University. And don't forget this, just in 2023, Mumbai witnessed its worst winter in terms of the air quality index, worsening to levels more severe than even Delhi on some days. Delhi, remember, is one of the most polluted cities of India. We will look at what Mumbai is heading to. Crucial questions, even as the BMC has pegged for a climate budget. What is in store for the people living in Mumbai? I'm being joined by Stalin D, a conservationist and director for the NGO Vanashakti, Asif Bamla, spokesperson for the BJP, Gufran Beg, founder, project director, Safar, and Shailesh Gandhi, former CIC, as well as Aditya Pratap, advocate. Thank you very much, all of you, for joining me. First to you, Mr. Stalin, what do you make out of what the budget really is? It's pegged a climate budget, which should be welcomed. We don't know details of this. But look at the drastic cut in costs for the Garden Department and for the reducing spaces. Is this a concern for you?
Definitely. It's a oxymoronic statement if you're going to say that you're going to have a green budget and you don't allocate the funds for it. What Mumbai desperately needs today is the trees. The trees have gone from Mumbai, and the loss of tree is a very serious issue. If you look at like you mentioned in your opening statements, that the air quality of Mumbai needs desperate help. If you want to reduce the dust, you want to give the citizens better air quality, trees are a vital part of that entire equation. And if you're going to remove the budget from the Garden Department, which with all its flaws also I would still say are doing a decent job of keeping Mumbai's gardens intact, there is too much pressure on them to clear tree cutting proposals. So that's said and done. But the fact is that this budget does not take into account the health of the citizens of Mumbai. It is completely disconnected from reality. If you look at BMC, what are its problems? It's the poor air quality, the level of pollution in the rivers. All of Mumbai's rivers are dead sewer drains. You have the issue of solid waste, mismanagement. All those things. So everything that is connected to the health of the citizens of Mumbai has been given a go by.
Okay, let me just get in the introductory remarks from others as well. Asif Bamla, how is reducing green spaces, the funds for green open spaces in Mumbai, anywhere close or in line with having a climate specified budget, please?
You see, first of all, we have to consider that this is the BMC is run by an administrator. We are unfortunately not having an elected government, a standing committee in place. But that doesn't take away the development and the progress under the rule of the government, which is of course run by the BJP, the Shiv Sena, and of course
Your
the
government.
NCP.
That's
so coming
right.
back to a key question, I know there for a small scale down there are too many voices, but people and my friends, I myself am an environmentalist first and then a BJP spokesperson. I don't know if you know, I head the Bamla Foundation, which is
I'm glad to have you on board, sir.
Which works strictly on environment, and I was one of the persons. Yeah, so I mean, I would like to rather give more cognizance to me being an environmentalist also, with this. And I certainly do draw a lot of analysis.
Sir, I humbly ask you this.
But let us tell you
Does
that the best,
this
the
make
best takeaway,
sense? The richest civic body, and I'm asking you again because I have to go to all others. You are an environmentalist, and therefore I am reframing my question with far more respect because you're an environmentalist as well.
Hello.
Does this make sense?
Line cuts.
Yes, you are, sir. Please go ahead.
I think there's a problem with the audio. Line is cut.
All right. I think we have some issue there, and my team will sort that line out. But let me just go over to Gufran Beg at this point. I said it in the introductory statement. I don't even know how to put this across. At least 4 to 5 winters ago, this whole downward trajectory for the air quality index had really started for Mumbai. It's worsened to its hilt just the last winter. And now we are seeing the entire focus that should have also been on the green spaces and the green cover is now all a controversy, with the funds being halved and the struggle to let the trees still be very real.
Yes. See, the important thing is that the climate change is happening, and that is a very erratic things which are going to happen. And as cities like Mumbai, which is highly vulnerable because of the three-side seashore and wind reversals and all those, they are highly vulnerable. Now, there is nature has given an advantage being near the seashore, that winds comes and do clean up and all those things. But the most important things which we can do is that there are two things by which trees, help both in air pollution as well as in climate change. What is that? CO2, as you all know, carbon dioxide is a problem for the climate change all through. So carbon dioxide sequestration, which is the trees, the bigger the tree, bigger the stem it does. And it used to have that kind of a thing, that carbon dioxide over Mumbai regions used to be very low. The another thing is that if there are leaf area index, means bigger leaf trees are there, then it will certainly absorb the toxic particles which have been a problem for Mumbai over the period of time of last couple of years. This year, as compared to last year, air quality was little better. Last year was 2020 to 23 winter was a real problem. But this is a temporary phase, that it was little better now in December or something. But in 2024-25, some other climate unusual phenomena will come and the air quality will go again. So we should not rest. We should take all the precautions, all the things, greenery unequivocally, without any hesitation, that has to increase. And then I think Mumbai has to work very hard for that, because dust pollution as well as carbon dioxide sequestration.
Up to, sir, what does even one say? Mumbai needs to work very hard towards it. This is what you are saying. But पैसा तो है नहीं, अब तो department बोलेगा कि पैसा नहीं है. Let me just get in Mr. Shailesh Gandhi as well, and I'm hoping we'll get the BJP spokesperson back very soon. Let me just get in Shailesh Gandhi. You live in Mumbai, sir. You live in Mumbai. Have you seen the green spaces reduced? I mean, I just want, as a citizen who lives in Mumbai, have you seen this happen in front of you, or is it theory? What do you see around you when you go out for a walk? Can you take a walk? What do you see around you? Can you tell us that? Because I don't live in Mumbai.
The air quality is deteriorating, the green spaces are reducing. But this indicator indicates something very dangerous. The drop in the gardens budget indicates one of the two possibilities. The BMC and various leaders have been trying to give over the gardens and open spaces to private parties on the contention that the BMC cannot maintain these. This appears to be a move either to ensure that the gardens become worse so that citizens themselves say, no, give it to private so that we can live peacefully, so that private people can take over these public spaces. Or it is that they have decided to give away the public spaces to private people already, though they have verbally told us officially that they will not give any gardens to any private people, but this seems to be the game plan. Give it to private people so that the government BMC does not have to spend much money on this. Either of these is a land grab situation, and I think citizens must protest. And Mr. Babla made us comment that for last 2 years there was no election to BMC. Why was there no election, may I ask? Why was there no election? The people of Mumbai are not living in a democratic setup.
I think so. We have Asif Bamla. We have Asif Bamla back, and I know I also have to go to Aditya Pratap. Let me just, before we lose Mr. Asif Bamla's line again, allow me to interrupt you, sir. Sorry about that. Before we lose Mr. Asif Bamla's line, because you have also asked some very important questions.
Yeah.
Mr. Asif Bamla, please respond.
You see, the environment is certainly the most important aspect, and we understand, and I'm sure going forward we are aware that the country's Prime Minister is the most passionate environmentalist at heart. Now you have, when you're developing your infrastructure, Mumbai is a commercial capital of the world. So keeping the environment aspect into the consideration, which is why we have a green budget that has been, that has been created and curated for a city like Mumbai. Now going back to that, there are various aspects that have already been covered. But you see, the coastal roadways is a dream project. The metro ways is also a very important aspect to reduce the pollution for the city of Mumbai. We don't understand that at times. So if a budget is diversified into some other area, that doesn't mean that that budget is going in the wrong hands. Now, if you see, if you look at it, we have been ensuring that the city's rising pollution levels are there. We're looking at systematic reducing emissions. We are trying to enhance the climate resiliences. If you see, the BMC is eyeing the focus to create the climate initiatives and to develop the gardens. It's not that the gardens are not being developed. If you see this year's the AQI level, in spite of so much construction happening in the city, give me 30 seconds. Give me 30 seconds. Give me 30 seconds, please. Was still better off because of the deep cleaning taken up by the Honorable Chief Minister. Second thing, the RA, we have the state government has added 326 acres to an area that was declared as a green zone. You see, and lays to rest any doubt about the protected status. You see, so altogether 1,100 acres is what we get extra from there. So the state government is doing its best. You see, infrastructure is equally
Asif Bamla, you've made a point. I have a question to you. But before I ask you my question, before I ask you my question, sir, I have to get in Mr. Stalin at this point.
We don't want to fall in trap for that.
No. Asif sir, you've made a strong point. You have given your government's version. Mr. Stalin, you have to come in and respond to what Mr. Asif Bamla is. I will ask my question after your answer. He is saying so what? The money is getting diversified. Other projects are there that are adding to the green concerns. Please respond, sir.
Asif ji
Transport
is a gentleman.
development, Mumbai sewage.
The statements he's making are a little far from the truth. The metro is not reducing the pollution in any way. The roads are as congested as they were. In fact, we are the petitioners in the Honorable High Court of Bombay, where it has been observed that the infrastructure projects are the greatest contributor to the pollution of Mumbai. And metro is also certainly one of them, which had to be shut down. The work was shut down because they were not conforming to the pollution laws. Now that leaving apart, but hitting the nail on the head was done by Mr. Shailesh Gandhi. Let me tell you, this entire plan is to make the gardens go into the hands of the corporators, the new corporators who are going to be inducted or who are in line for the political ticket. I've been promised these gardens for and funds for so-called beautification, upgrade, uptake, everything. It's all a game for money. This has got nothing to do with environment. It cannot be a green budget, because if you talk of green, the fundamental
Very
thing which
strong
comes to your mind is
allegations.
the
Two
trees.
panelists respected in their spheres of influence, making some very strong allegations. I will get back to Asif Bamla on this, but I have to go first to Aditya Pratap. Aditya, what do you have to say? Do you see the Green Tribunal act where it needs to?
To begin with, I would like to say that that I am arguing a series of cases before the National Green Tribunal, and in the cases that I'm arguing before the National Green Tribunal, several questions of law are being taken up. There's one case in which I'm appearing, in which there's a proposal to declare Mumbai an island. As per the CRZ notification, Mumbai should be declared an island, and therefore MCZMA construction, etc., its permission should be mandatory for every construction. In short, Mumbai is an island where extra sensitivity and focus needs to be paid on the environment. Second, by cutting the garden department budget, BMC has ensured that new funds are not going to creating parks. People pay so much property tax, but is the property tax going towards improving their greenery? Because when we see the new DC regulations, they have given a free hand to builders to concretize as much as they can. Mr. Stalin made a statement that infrastructure projects contribute to pollution. Mr. Stalin, I respectfully disagree with you. It is not infrastructure projects would contribute to pollution. It is the builders and the massive concrete jungles which are the cause of real pollution in this city. Massive. I am arguing one more case in the National Green Tribunal which challenges the excessive depth of basements given to builders. Builders excavate up to 20-25 meter deep basements. You convert the entire city into a giant quarry, and BMC sits by and does nothing and files affidavits to oppose the petition. So what we see is, further, when we look at parks, we have already seen that in Mumbai, the assault on greenery comes from two directions. The first direction is that what happens in the first direction, green spaces get reduced. Builders cut down trees and replace them with potted plants. And in the second assault on greenery, green spaces which should come into existence in the development plan do not come into existence at all and mysteriously get deleted. So yes, the BMC's reduction of the garden budget is but yet one more nail in the coffin of Mumbai city's greenery. Even the greenery being created along coastal road will benefit only one section of the city's inhabitants who live on the seaside. So yes, I do strongly believe that in the cases which I am arguing before the National Green Tribunal, I am trying to convince the tribunal that even critical aspects like urban planning, town planning, roads, open spaces, public parks, they do come within the ambit of the environment and the National Green Tribunal Act of 2010.
Okay. All right. Again, I have to get in Asif Bamla at this point. Asif Bamla, you heard both Mr. Stalin as well as Aditya Pratap make the points that they have. Asif Bamla, over to you.
Okay, let me give you three major takeaways. Is transport development 928 crore not going to help in reducing the carbon emissions and the pollution levels? Mumbai sewage disposal proposal, it's one of the worst sewage proposals because it's a worst project. It's a project that needs immediate attention because the sewages were laid at the time when the Britishers were there, and so far as so many years the BMC was under the Shiv Sena and there was no work done on that. So is that not equally important? So by us taking these measures, that doesn't take away. I personally, as an environmentalist, will take this up also with my party and my government also, that we should not try to scale this down. But this is not the end. This is just an interim budget.
Thank you very much, Asif Sir. Thank you very much. This means the world to us, that as an environmentalist, you are sitting here with us, giving us your word that you will talk to your party. This means the world to us, and I genuinely and appreciating your stand here. One thing I have to ask you, Asif Sir, why not just do away with the garden department then? You're getting a green climate, you're getting a green budget, and then you also have the other aspects of the budget. Then might as well just do away with the green department altogether and say that is being diversified into everything else, sir.
You see, a green
Garden
budget
department
has been announced. There are more details and there is more rollover. Yeah, the more rollover has to happen. I certainly sympathize, and I have a lot of regard with Mr. Sailesh Gandhi. We have worked on environment in a number of platforms, and I'm sure Mr. Gandhi will endorse that. But you see, there are various aspects. You see, by environment, we just don't mean a tree plantation or just gardens itself. There are various sustainable means. I mean, these development of the coastal roads.
Absolutely.
The government is trying to ensure sustainable means to ensure that there are more sustainable in ways also to ensure the running of these infrastructural projects. At the same time, if you see the hybrid and the waste to energy project, if you see the climate, it's not that there's a big push in that. And in the interest of a greater push, the BMC has proposed, you see, 11,627 with the previous government had just kept in FDs and they were not utilized. We don't believe in keeping them
Bamla sir,
in the
allow me,
banks
I
and
will
taking
come back
interest
to
of
you
that.
if it
We are
permits. I am
using
left with
that
only
in
4
the
minutes.
interest of the
You've made
city.
some very important
And
points.
the
Allow
city-
me to go to two
the
other
city
panelists.
should be beautified. The funds of the people of Mumbai should go to them in this budget, and this is the aim of the Bharatiya Janata Party and the government in place, not by keeping the money in the banks and reservoirs in the bank and letting the people of the city of Mumbai
sir. Let me just go across to Gufran Beg at this point. Sir, how do you look at what is being said at this point, you know? Asif Bamla sir, you've made some very strong points. Thank you very much. Let me just go across to two others as well. Gufran Beg, you've heard what Asif Bamla has said. You've seen what the budget proposes. We don't know what the highlights of the climate budget or the green budget would be. We really don't know how much of that would be whataboutery, how much of that would come into action. It's an election year for BMC. It's a big deal. But we are hoping and we believe the government as well as BMC is listening to this show, will watch this show. What do you want to tell them that needs urgent addressal, immediate addressal?
All the argument leave apart. I know one thing very clear, that the most important things, if you would like to slow down the climate change, want to control or at least put a brake in air pollution which is going towards Delhi direction, then two things has to be very important, that there is no replacement of the cutting of the tree. The trees need to be saved, whatever, because the bigger trees are the one which are the only great sink of the lethal pollution as well as climate change agent like carbon dioxide. Number two, the redevelopment, construction activities, rampant, let development take place, but all the guidelines, 30 feet green cover, all those need to be followed. Otherwise, they need to be shut because that is something which is not only making air quality deteriorated, but many other things which are happening, and then that is also lethal to the greenery also, because leaf also starts getting dead.
Let me just get in Sailesh Gandhi.
The dust start making
this.
So these are the
point absolutely taken. Sailesh Gandhi, to those who would be listening, to those in power who would be listening, 1 minute to you. What do you want to tell them?
A very simple question which has not been answered is the cut in the garden budget. How is this cut going to come about? By serving less gardens? By servicing them poorly? How is this cut coming about? If we could get an explanation for that, it would settle a lot of doubts. Because that has not been answered.
Asif
How
Bamla,
is
do you want to
the
respond to that
garden
very
budget being
quickly,
cut?
maybe just in 30, 40 seconds?
From where is the...
Asif Bamla, if you want to respond to that, do you have an answer or do you want to check on that?
Of course, we certainly, I agree with what Mr. Gandhi said. I am an environmentalist first. And I mentioned in my debate, as not as a spokesperson of BJP alone, as an environmentalist, I shall propose this also, and I will personally speak with the municipal commissioner, and I will have my party leaders also look into that. But that doesn't take away to what it has happened. Here we are, you see, we are looking at a sustainability where we are talking about reducing emissions and enhancing climate resilience. You see, the focus is that the climate initiatives, which includes, certainly it includes developing of gardens. But now this decision has come. This yet needs to be reconciled. This yet needs to be looked at. Mr. Gandhi is certainly right in his aspect. But there are various aspects. Just like I said, tree plantation or, of course, maintain of green spaces there. I told you this was a great breather for which the government has taken for the 326 acres in the RA also.
Okay,
it
I'm
has
left
secured
with
that
just
land
a
also.
minute and a half,
so
sir.
government is trying its best. But when the government is diversifying funds, that doesn't mean that it is against the climate, which normally the opposition portrays that. And don't forget, the Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, is considered in the world as the tallest environmentalist. Be it the COP28 summit or any, India's got the biggest
So
and the maximum
we really aren't
representation.
talking about
How are
Prime
we
Minister
forgetting
Modi
that?
at this point. We're
So
talking
let us
about a
not
BMC
just jump
budget.
into conclusion. Give a little time
This
for
isn't
that,
really about
and
Prime
I'm
Minister
sure
Modi, sir.
the
It is
government
a
and the
civic
Mahadana
body. It's the
Palika,
richest
including Mr.
civic
Iqbal
body
Chaudhary, will
at this
come out
point,
with
and that's
that.
what we're really talking about. So allow me, last minute left. 30 seconds to you, Aditya Pratap. What do you want to say as the show closes?
Well, for a simple reason, the BMC needs to follow the judgments declared by Supreme Court and ensure that now, more than commercial capital, Mumbai should be known as the green capital of the country. The public, people, the right to life of the people under Article 21 of the Constitution of India is paramount, and the income from the BMC's taxes, etc., should go towards, number one, acquiring more lands and converting them into green parks. Second, ensuring that wherever green reservations are there, they should be strictly implemented and enforced. And third, setting aside more budgets of trees and becoming and making the tree authority
I just
stringent.
quickly have to go across to Stalin. All right, Mr. Stalin, last 30 seconds. Do you think this issue, the lack of a green cover, the green budget, all of this together is really going to become an election and a big election year for BMC? Is this going to become an election issue?
It's a cash cow for the politicians who are waiting in line. And what Mr. Asif says that it's going to be climate resilience. You're talking of climate resilience minus the trees. Now that doesn't make sense to me. If you are serious about trees, then the garden department is the agency which plants the trees, and they should be given the money to do it.
Okay.
Not the other way down.
All right. Thank you very much, all five of you, for joining us. A special mention and a shout out to the BJP spokesperson who has spoken extremely honestly. Thank you very much, all five of you, for joining us. One thing is for sure, irrespective of who heads BMC at whichever point, this shall remain our focus because Mumbai and India deserves better. Thank you for watching.